Hello YouTube. Here I got another fan video for you guys. This was a 3 generation Lasko showcase. There's our 12-inch tail fans from 3 different eras. So we're gonna start with the mid 80s Panasonic Tail Fan. Now, the overview. It's back in the 80s, Lasko used translucent blades, and they're not made of that plastic windmere uses. They're made of actually I think type of acrylic. I don't know. Yeah, that's what they're made of, and they're pretty sturdy. You also have wall-mountable options on these things, and these blades had a steep pitch on them. Also, these are really quiet performers. They move a lot of air and stuff. They have metal cages, both front and back. And the earlier versions had a metal handle on them. The later versions will have the plastic one. And the motors are bigger on these. And the badges, they were kind of like, they were mostly like the one over there. Like that one. So, this one is pretty much the rebadge 2150 by Galaxy Lasko. Moving on to this fan. Now, this one is pretty much like that one, except that number one, the blades are cut, and they pretty much have the same leading edge, but they were cut from right here and not from this side, like the bigger ones. The badge is different. Now, I think I have the idea that the badge originated from one of those older KDK Panasonic Table Fans, because I remember picking one up. It was one of those late 80s Panasonics. It was also made by Lasko. I've seen videos of the Maspians. They had this exact badge as well. This fan uses a rotary dial switch. Has a newer, modern, sleeker base. And it's actually a bit shorter than the 2150 F129A. Now, these fans, they were only meant for table use. These are not wall mountable. As you can tell, this was the year Lasko introduced the black rear grille and the metal front grille. But they kept the metal front grille. They use the same parts. Both of those fans have the same spinner. And this one has a smaller motor than the other one. And the earlier versions of this fan still have metal cages up until 1998. Now, moving on to this one. And also, one thing before I forget. This was the year they introduced these bigger nuts for the back grille. These will be produced every year all the way to today. Now we got the last one, the Lasko model 2027. Now another YouTuber by the name of Louise Fan Guide 292. He also has this fan. Please check out his channel. Now this fan is pretty much like this one. The parts on this fan though, they're like 22 years old now. The parts they use, I mean not it fan literally, but you know what I mean. Because later after this model, they were introduced the full plastic grills. And that's where this one comes in. The blade set is pretty much the same as this one, except the blade hub is different. It has a different spinner on it. As you can see, the blade nut is a bit larger compared to the other two. Yeah, it's because Lasko, for some reason, has the intentions of using the same blade nuts on fans. I'm not sure why they kept that one. That one is like, there was nothing wrong with using that one. But I mean, that's them. Now, this one uses a rotary dial switch down here. And yes, I have cleaned it. I actually did clean it. That's why it's smooth now. I actually had to use alcohol to remove that remaining gunk in there. And these ones use smaller motors. You can see how much shorter they got over the years. Different tilting mechanisms. This one uses like those spring type. Those two don't. Now this one. Now, well, the tilting mechanism is better on these. These things seem to be the bearings on these seem to be horrible than those two. I mean, this one having the sleeve bearings have long spin down. This one has ball bearings, but they're really good. This one, for some reason, has the ball bearings, but the motor shells, I think they are manufactured to be tight, and that's the cause for these tight spin downs on these modern fans. So that's a sad lowdown for Lasko, especially considering how these two were like the best ones. Well, in other words, they're still decent. I mean, they're only up for $20. So we're gonna start on low. They're both really quiet. I'll give it that. I mean, all three of them. Now then. Now, the airflow on all of these, they're different as well. This one is more obscure. This one is blowing a bit more. This one is blowing a lot. That one is blowing a lot of air considering how it's fast it's going. This one's going faster, but it's blowing the same amount. Actually, no, this one's blowing a lot more. This one, I tend to think that the grills are pretty much obstructing the airflow. This is why I'm not a fan of these ones. But they perform good. Now we'll go to speed 2. Now, one thing I forgot to mention. These two fans have the same motor. And to not confuse you, this one was found dead. They had the original motor, the original stator, and the shaft. I had to throw it away. So I had to place in another motor from a Lasko from the same era as this one. And it works really well. I'm surprised. It's actually not failing from the blue plug. But I mean, that stator was actually brand new. I don't think it was ever used, so I'm just gonna see use on this fan now. But this one is still weak. This one's blowing a bit more air. This one is blowing a ton. So these ones are actually more reliable. These ones are also reliable, but they're quiet. But I mean, the airflow on both of these, they're different. This one, I mean, Works better than those cheaper ones. I mean, the Comfort Zone fans. We'll go to speed 3. Now, I hear the one in the middle mostly than these others too. I tend to think that the one in the middle is actually high velocity as well. Or it's probably the weight of that blade because it was cut down. But they're very still quiet. I mean, these two are going both at the same speed. I mean, even though they're going at the same speed, the aerodynamics on this is like messed up. This one's blowing better. This one's really strong. Now, the oscillation mechanisms, I think they're different in all three. So. A bit over. Oh, they have them clinking apart each other. This one is the slowest one out of all three. That was the fastest. I mean, these two seem to have the same oscillating pattern. There's like barely any difference, but I mean, I think the delay is actually what counts. This one's a lot more smooth, this one's a bit jerky. This one is more fast paced. It's actually very smooth as well. Yeah, they're very good performers. But I really prefer these two more. The 2000 is actually my favorite. That one is like high prestige. So we're gonna go back to high speed and shut them off. Just wait for this one to stop oscillating at the middle. Also, before we stop them, as you can see, the oscillator knobs are the same on these two. This one is different. I rather prefer these circular ones than those ones. This one has the best one. These ones you have to pull it off, and that one you have to align that too after servicing. So this is why I like this one more. So we're gonna shut them off right now. Yeah, somehow the middle one has the best spin down, despite the blade being lighter. But it's a bit heavier than the one to the left, and a bit lighter than the one to the right. Well, it's gonna do it. The 3 generation Lasko 12-inch table fan comparison. Thanks for watching.